He's got Armia with him. He shoots. He scores.
In front, Carson scores!
And strike three. Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pucks and Pine Tar podcast. I'm Blake Friars alongside my co-host Seth. Hagen. Seth.
Episode 8.
Did I say 7?
Said 8. No, you didn't say it at all. Don't worry.
All right. You're psyching me out. Let's talk about the first round. We got to start with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Also known as the Toronto Maple Chokes. That's all they do in the postseason is choke and fail to come through and fold like a cheap tent. And you know, Game 7 was just another repeat of what's happened since 2013. They're 0-8 in their last 8 elimination games, or with a chance to close out a series. This team, like, what more does this team need to do? Like, they have a good core up front. That Jack Campbell played out of his mind this series, and they still lost. Like, Mitch Marner hasn't had a goal in 18 straight playoff games. Austin Matthews had 5 points in 7 games. But 4 of those points came in one game. Like, that's not good enough.
Being new to Canada, you hear about the Toronto Maple Leafs dominate everything, and it's unfortunately it's 100% true. Every single news station I've been watching is Leafs. They could care less about the Jets. They could care less about everything. You bring up that they pooped the bed and they haven't won a playoff series since 2004 and they haven't gotten the first, like, all that stuff. Each year is different. Every team is different, but this team, you can kind of look at the last 2-3 seasons and see what they've done, see how they've tried to address a problem. This season they addressed what they thought was lack of experience. Yeah. So they brought in veteran guys like Wayne Simmons and old man Beard. Like, it didn't work. So we can dance on their graves all we want, but this team just ran into bad luck, I think, this year by getting their captain in one of the most gruesome injuries I've seen in a long time hurt. Jake Muzzin didn't play, got hurt. Like, injuries are injuries, and your team should be ready to take them over. But you look at what, like, Montreal did. They actually added to their core and added to their depth, like in game 2 or 3 when they said, hey, Cole Caulfield, why don't you come play? And look what he did on that overtime goal with that great assist and that 2-on-1 they had. Like, how this team, what they have, do they have the capability to even call up a Cole Caulfield? No, I don't think they do, because they have so much money buried in this first line that 5-on-5 was not good. They actually tied. It was like the scoring 5-on-4.
You can say they were dog shit.
5-on-5, they were even with Canadians. They were even. Okay. What happened? It came down to specialty teams, and it came down to a third period overtime. Like, we're going to talk about Carey Price. I don't think he won this series for him. I think it was all on the coaching and the game plan. I think it was all coaching, all game plan.
Hold on.
I really do.
In both those overtimes that Montreal won, they were heavily outshot. In game 6.
But they were still, here's the thing. It was in overtime.
In game 6.
Here's the thing, Blake, it was in overtime. If Carey Price was really dominating the series, they wouldn't have had to go to overtime.
They got outshot in almost every game.
I'm just saying, I don't think you can 100% put – I saw your Twitter calling me like Carey Price is one of the greatest goalies to ever play hockey. But he didn't win this series. I think Toronto lost this series.
Carey Price stole the series. He 100% did, because look at how much little goal support he had. They had to win 2-1 games and 3-1 games. And then dude.
Yeah, their offense, I think it
Montreal's
was like
offense.
The goals expected scoring was like 34% lower than it was in the regular season. Like they lost their offense in the playoffs and they still won the series.
Because of why? Because Carey Price kept them in the series.
Because Toronto was even worse. Okay,
but Toronto raved about all year. Oh, our team is we're so deep this year. We got lots of depth. Your depth just got tested, and you blew a 3-1 series lead. That's the part that is unacceptable. You were the best team in the North. You dominated Montreal all year long, and you can't win the 4th game of the playoff series. Like I don't know if it's like a mentality issue with them where they get to a spot and you can put away a team or step on their neck. The Leafs have a good team.
This is what we did. This is what we did agree on. I think that it doesn't have to do with veteran leadership. It doesn't have to do with talent. I think they are mentally weak.
They're just a fragile group.
We agree. And I will give you credit on calling this series. You deserve it. You gave me credit for calling the Boston 4 games in a row. So you get credit. Good on you, Blake. I think it's a straight up mental weakness that this team has that obviously can't be fixed. No coach can fix it because they've tried amazing coaches. They've tried rookie coaches. It doesn't matter. I think it's a straight up come to you have a day job. You go to the rink and stuff isn't going right. You don't want to be at the rink, right? That even if your team's playing well, if there's something going on in the locker room or something in the back, something in the front office, something is off, you don't want to be there. And these kids, they show up. Matthews can put all the goals up he wants, but if he hates being at work or if he doesn't become mentally strong, it's just going to keep going.
You know what this team lacks? This team is very good up front. They lack a killer instinct. They lack the killer instinct.
That's what they got Wayne Simmons for. Wayne Simmons is the killer.
No. I'm talking about killer instinct, like a guy like that can go out and score a goal to help to put away a team. When Toronto won Game 4, they won that game 4-0, and I said this series is over. I said there's no way in hell. Toronto is in complete control. They just dominated Montreal 4-0. This is going back to Toronto. And they're winning Game 5. There's no way they're not winning this series. And you let Montreal in the door with that overtime win in Game 5, and Montreal just completely blew the doors open in Game 6. They got that overtime win in Game 6, and after that win, I told myself, I said Montreal's winning this series. This team
You get credit. 100%
this Montreal team is so fragile. They fold. When the chips go to the table.
Talk about Montreal or Toronto?
Or Toronto, pardon me.
Okay, yeah.
When the chips get pushed into the middle of the table, Matthews and Marner don't show up. And that's a problem. Like, I'll ask you a question now. Does the Toronto Maple Leafs need to make a franchise-altering move to fix this?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't think so. I don't actually think so at all. We're dancing on the Maple Leafs grave, and it's fun, and it's a fun thing to do, especially in Canada, especially in the markets that we live in. They lost their captain. They lost their heart and soul of the team to something that looked like he's knocked out. He was on another planet. They lost him to some nasty freak injury. If that doesn't have an effect on young guys, like how young Marner and Matthews are, they see that. Like, no matter how much hockey you've played, that has to have a mental effect on you. So I don't think they need to make a franchise-changing move. I don't think they need to spend money, like a bunch of money, on free agents. They don't need to spend they don't need to have a $10 million player. They don't need to have a $9 million player. They don't need that. They just need, like you said, a better, like, killer instinct. They need a third line that can score better. They need something, right? They need, I mean, Muzzin's pretty good, but the defense core needs some help, don't you think?
Yeah, what I would do, honestly, I would call up the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Seth Jones?
And offer a Mitch Marner for Seth Jones.
Yeah, but Seth Jones want to do that.
Seth Jones doesn't have a no move clause. He has no choice. Neither does Mitch Marner. Seth Jones has 1 year left. Obviously, you would want to maybe talk to his agent, work in a sign and trade, so you have some guarantee behind that. But, I mean, Mitch Marner, he's making $10.9 million. He has 0 goals his last 18 games in the playoffs.
That's too much. That's too much money. Look at that stat that came out. Carey Price is the first player to make over $10 million
to win a series. Yeah.
To win any series in the history of NHL hockey in whatever era they go on.
You look at
now.
the top 15 highest paid players.
They don't make
one player.
Yeah.
And it's Carey Price. That's
so
one
Mitch
player.
Martin, and if you said so to someone, Carey Price is $10 million or Mitch Martin is $10 million, where are you going to spend your $10 million?
You're probably going to take Mitch Marner.
So if he gets out of there and they add Seth Jones, what do they have to pay Seth Jones?
You're going to have to give him $8 or $9 mil.
That's $8 mil works for me. $8 mil's fine. Seth Jones
like I would sign like eight times 5, 8 times 6.
Yeah.
Something like that. But like the Leafs.
I'm reading Seth Jones LA Kings talk is what I'm reading. But
yeah, I could also LA could do a lot of things.
Yeah.
LA can trade for Jack Eichel if they want to. They could trade for Mitch Marner if they wanted to. They could trade for Seth Jones if they wanted to. I don't know what direction LA is going to go to.
But they have options.
We're going to find out in a couple of years where they want to go because A, they have the cap space, and B, they have the prospect capital to make any trade they want to. So that is going to be –
Seth Jones in Toronto is great, but I think Seth Jones wants to go to LA. And I know he doesn't have a choice, but –
I mean, LA is like, the bright stage, big stage, bright lights.
That's what Toronto was, used to be. Big stage, bright lights.
It still is. They just got to figure it out.
It's a basketball. I tweeted it. I texted it. It's a basketball town.
Shut up.
It's a basketball town now. So welcome to Toronto, the land of the round ball.
Yeah, land of the round ball. But going back to Toronto, Austin Matthews, everybody said, Rocket Richard, this guy would have scored 60 goals in 82 games. Where was this in the playoffs? This guy had 1 goal in 7 games? Really? 1 goal, Seth, in 7 games. That's all we're getting from the Rocket Richard, the best goal scorer in the NHL. He's giving us 1 goal in 7 games.
So it's, once again, I don't want to dance on their grave, man. Matthews is an amazing player, and 29 teams
didn't show up though when the team needed him the most.
Look at the best player in the league, Connor McDavid. How did he end up this year in the playoffs? Like, he was out in 4. Yeah, he had more points than Matthews, but still, being one guy, there's 20 guys, there's 25 guys. There needs to be more. Yes, Matthews didn't show up. I get it, man, but like, look at what Draisaitl and McDavid did in 4 games. It happens sometimes, man.
We're gonna wrap up here on the Leafs talk.
We're dancing on the grave. We agree. Good call, Blake. It's don't tear it down, man. Don't tear it down.
The bottom line is, Seth, what I'm getting, my point is, there is no way the Toronto Maple Leafs should have lost this series.
No, I agree.
There's no way.
100%. People were calling over in 4, over in 5.
This series should have been done in 5 games. And I think they need to make a franchise-altering trade. I know you think they should just stand pat, but... So,
with the Seth Jones, you consider that franchise-altering trade a Seth Jones?
Well, whenever you trade a player like Marner, I think that's a...
Yeah.
Like, look, this is a bad example, but look what the Toronto Raptors did when they couldn't beat LeBron all those years. They went out and traded DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard, okay? And everyone was like, holy shit, like, this is a huge deal. You just traded the Raptors' face of the franchise, guy that's been there for 10 years. You bring in Kawhi Leonard, a guy that's won before, a guy that knows how to go, like, get buckets down the stretch, and the Raptors won the championship. A lot of stuff had to bounce right for them that year, right? But, I mean, Masai Ujiri took a risk in bringing in Kawhi Leonard when he knew he might only have him for a year, which that's what the case was. He went to the Clippers. But he won a championship. So it's worth it. It's all worth it.
Worth it. 100%.
I don't think they're going to trade Marner for a rental.
No.
I mean,
Thornton's off the books. They're not going to re-sign Thornton, right?
Well, they got to figure out how to sign Hyman.
They're going to re-sign Spezza the way he played this year. They have to.
You
got to bring him back.
He'll be signed for cheap. But yeah. Let's move on to what series do you want to talk about first? Let's talk about. Okay, we'll stick in the North.
We're talking about Montreal, so let's transition them to
Winnipeg, Montreal. They start tonight. Game 1 is tonight. Who do you have in this series?
I got Winnipeg. I really do, and I'm interested to see who you got. You've been riding this Carey Price like Montreal is, but your pick to come out of the North, Winnipeg. So I got Winnipeg. I think in a Hellebuck versus Price showdown,
it's going to be one of the best goaltending matchups we've ever seen. But we've seen in a long time.
I'm going to pick Hellebuck, but I will say when it comes down to goals expected, shot volumes, Montreal on pretty much every game they played against Winnipeg outshot Winnipeg.
Yep.
So Hellebuck has to be better than Carey Price. Price can just bring his 5-on-5, goals expected average, keep it even. I mean, the power play for Montreal was 26 on the season, and right now in the playoffs, they're the third best power play in the playoffs.
You want to know something?
Well, yeah.
Montreal chased Hellebuck 3 times this year.
That's what I was getting at.
So
they're increased their power play. They're going to outshoot them. So Hellebuck's got to be on his game. I think the penalty kill, for some reason, Toronto just didn't score on their specialty teams. I don't think that's going to be the same issue with Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg's going to get more goals on the specialty teams.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be the difference in the game. Obviously, they're going to outshoot Winnipeg, but Winnipeg's going to score more on the specialty teams. So that's why I'm picking Winnipeg. But I don't feel good about it.
I picked Winnipeg on my other podcast in 6 games.
Picked it on this podcast too.
I don't like to just say one thing on one podcast and another on another podcast. That makes me look like a retard. I'm not a retard, but you know.
That's a bad word. Don't say the R word.
Yeah, I know.
Don't say the R word, folks.
Makes me look like a clown.
There you go.
But I think this could go 6. I think
this could go 7.
It very well could go 7.
I want it to go 7. I want them all to 7. This has been playoffs. Overtime has been great. And the North needs it. The North is, I think, the weakest division. The North needs some teams to come out of there that are battle-tested. Winnipeg's not battle-tested yet. They won 4 games in a row. Montreal is battle-tested, so I think they need it because down south are better teams, in my opinion, than either one of these 2 teams. So I think Winnipeg comes out of it in 6 or 7. I can't pick.
But if Carey Price plays like the way he did in the first round and Montreal gets timely goals and their power play keeps up, there's no reason why they can't win this series.
Exactly. And Montreal's got the secret weapon in Canada, fans.
Yeah.
In their stands. They're not.
Well, so does Winnipeg. Winnipeg,
when did they announce that?
They announced it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Let me look it up here. They did. I saw it on TSN. Winnipeg Jets fans.
They were doing 2,500 capacity in
Jets
Quebec.
still host small number of fans for Game 1 versus Canadians.
What's the small number? 500 like Toronto did? Because 500 is not it's great. Healthcare workers are amazing. But 2,500, I'm sure Quebec's going to increase their capacity too.
You think?
The virus in Canada is finally I think in British Columbia today they announced there was only 190 some cases, the lowest it's been in over a year.
Yeah, and
they're finally catching it.
Saskatchewan is 60% vaccinated right now.
Yeah, so they're catching it finally. It took them a little longer. They brought up the rear of the class. They sat in the back for a while. They're here now.
They're doing the same thing as Toronto. 500 vaccinated healthcare workers for games 1 and 2.
Okay.
So it's not a lot, but it's something.
It's something. 2,500 fans is great in Montreal. So
it's a step in the right direction, is what it is.
Yep. So you're gonna stick with Winnipeg?
I'm gonna pick Winnipeg, but I'm gonna cheer for Montreal.
Okay. At least, hey, that's what we call respectable.
I like Carey Price a lot.
You go head versus heart. You always pick both. You don't pick between either one of them.
I will root for Montreal. My dad's a big Habs fan, so I kind of have a soft spot for Montreal a little bit. But this goaltending matchup is gonna be something. I mean,
let's hope it lives up to it, man. I think it will, but I think there's gonna be like you said, they chased them 3 times. There's gonna be a random 5-1 game thrown in the series. You know there is.
Am
I boring you? Yawning over here.
Let's go Colorado Vegas. Game 2.
This is the series everyone was looking forward to, man.
Game 2 is tonight. Colorado leads 1-0, and Colorado blew the doors off of Vegas 7-1 the first game. Thanks to Peter DeBoer's coaching debacle. He started Robin Lehner in game 1. When Fleury's been your guy all year, he's been a rock in the playoffs all year long.
Vezina finalist, first time in his career.
Like, first of all, that's kind of a joke in itself. Like this guy, like how this guy's been nominated for a Vezina in his career is kind of crazy. But this was just such a boneheaded coaching decision.
So, on the surface, the casual fans can look and say, "Wow, we're casual fans too. I'm not some expert." Can look and say, "Oh, dumb," because they're letting the results dictate opinion. Before the game, this old man, Fleury, 36 years old, had played 7 games in 14 days against a Minnesota team that was not easy to play against, travel to different time zones, overtime games. I mean, 1-0 games where it's so mentally taxing on you. You have to look at that as a coach and say, look, we need to get Lehner something. And game 1 is a game that you can afford to maybe do this in. And Lehner last year was the guy they rode. So it's not like he put in some scrub. It just don't let the results dictate it. If they lost 2-1, would you make fun of the Lehner start instead of losing by that much? You know what I mean? So I mean, yes, I think you ride Fleury. I agree with you. But I also see this guy, DeBoer, look at the full big picture and say, I got to get him something. And it can be game 1, because after the game 1, they had 2 days off. So that means that Fleury got 4 days of rest, basically almost 5 full days of rest. For someone who's 36, who played 7 hockey games against elite competition in 14 days, I couldn't imagine. I can't get out of bed if I work out twice in the same day. I can't get out of bed the next day. So I'm just trying to defend it a little bit, but I think he should have still started Fleury.
Yeah, that's fair. Who do you got in this series?
Colorado looks like even before this, looks like an absolute juggernaut, dude. They look like someone you don't want to. It's like you go to the playground, you're like, oh, this kid's here. Shit, man, I'm not playing basketball today. And you take your ball and you go home.
Right.
That's what they look like. Kadri's out? Nah, whatever. Didn't even notice it. If you didn't tell someone that Kadri was out, they wouldn't even know. But yeah, I look at, okay, yeah, they got the top end guys, but they got guys like Jost. They got their third liners scoring. Their goalies actually showed up. So if the third line is down, is playing that well, and the goalie's playing that well, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
What Nathan McKinnon is doing right now is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. He's the Damian Lillard of the NHL, man.
Ooh.
Damian Lillard of the NHL. Except McKinnon's going to get a championship. I don't think Dame is.
Well,
bold NBA takes. Come here for your bold NBA takes.
The Toronto Maple Leafs are the Los Angeles Clippers.
No. What Stephen A. Smith called the Toronto Maple Leafs the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL. They call them the Dallas Cowboys, and I kind of agreed with it because they used to win championships. They used to be this team. Now they're
Are you talking about Stephen A?
Stephen A. Yeah.
This guy just all of a sudden just spits facts on the NHL.
Hey, Money talks, and now the ESPN's got the NHL money.
I think he's reading a script because I don't think he knows shit about hockey. But whoever's writing that script and telling Stephen A to say this is dead on because what he said about McDavid, the Oilers, and Draisaitl, and what he said about the Leafs and failing every year, hey,
makes sense. But
truth hurts.
But back to this series, McKinnon, the Dame Lillard
I got Colorado in 6.
I got Colorado exactly in 6 too, man. Vegas has been on this like 4 year run, constant making the playoffs, constant this COVID pandemic. This team has not gotten any younger in the last 3 years.
And I think they're going to regret that Pietrangelo signing mightily.
Yeah. He came back and scored though. Game 1, then he came back, right? In Minnesota. He got a goal right away, like first period, but otherwise.
Yeah, he's 31 years old. It's time to a 7-year deal. Like, I don't know what they're thinking with that.
I think Vegas is another destination that owner is not gonna. He's Vegas, man. He's got money. He's not gonna he's gonna make a splash if they don't get out of this playoffs with a cup. I think he's gonna do something drastic. And I love it.
Let's talk about Tampa Bay, Carolina. Tampa Bay leads 2-0. I had Tampa Bay winning this series. I have Tampa Bay going to the Cup final against the Colorado Avalanche. This series, I mean, Tampa went into Carolina and took both games on the road.
Great games, though. They were fun games to watch.
Both 2-1 games.
Oh.
So Tampa Bay's in the driver's seat. They go back home. And if they get a split, they're going back to Raleigh up 3-1 and in complete control. So this series has been close on the scoreboard, but
it was 2-0. I mean, Carolina got a super late goal to make it 2-1, but it was pretty much over, man.
Tampa Bay's been the better team so far.
100% agree. I love Carolina. I love the atmosphere they're providing. Full stadium. Merzlikins is like they got it, man.
Merzlikins
or not Merzlikins.
Nadalchevich.
There you go. There's all these weird names, bro. All these weird names. Sometimes you never know who's in goal for those guys. But Tampa, I got Tampa winning it just like you. Maybe they don't sweep. Maybe they get it in 5.
Yeah, 5 or 6. Yeah.
Tampa Bay's
good.
Tampa Bay's good.
They're poised. They're poised to make another cup run here, I think.
The demise of Victor Hedman was greatly exaggerated.
Only took him hiding $17 million in LTIR to do it.
Hey, like I said, every team can do that. Every team knows the rule. Just because Jim Benning sucks doesn't mean that every team doesn't know that same rule.
Watch your mouth. All right. Boston and the Islanders tied 1-1. Islanders won game 2 in overtime. A back and forth game, good hockey game, packed crowd at the TD Garden. Nice to see fans, in the States packing the house and, going back to some normalcy in the NHL setting. But what do you think of this series so far?
So Boston was my pick to come out of everything. So I think Boston still gets it. I'm not going to say they're going to win the next 4.
So you had Boston going to the cup, right?
Yeah, I remember I said
against who though?
Wouldn't it be great if Boston and Toronto got to play for the cup?
I had to throw it in there. I can't believe you did it to yourself. I told you not to do it.
After 17 years, you think it would break right once. But
year 18 and counting, and they still haven't won a playoff round.
So I'm kind of like you. I'm kind of like you when it comes to this the Habs Jets, where my head, I'm rolling still with Boston.
Yeah.
But my heart is with the Islanders. It's the last season in that stadium. Those fans and the people on Long Island love that place.
Are you talking about the Nassau?
Yeah, Nassau. Yeah.
Nassau.
They love that place. They got 2 UND guys. I'm a big UND hockey fan.
Who's that?
Zajac, and they got Brock Nelson.
Okay, so I didn't know Zajac went. I knew Brock Nelson played. I didn't know Zajac went.
Zajac was on a line with Zach Parise and Drew Stafford. way back in the day before 2 years before Taves, 3 years before Taves came there.
And Ocean and stuff.
Yep. So those guys were there before. Zajac, great pickup this year, by the way, for the Islanders.
They gave a first round pick, didn't they?
Yeah, but he's been to he's been in the playoffs back when that Parisi was on the Devils with them. They had a good playoff run. So I'm torn, man. I'm still going to rock Boston, but I really love the Islanders fans. I love the players, UND connections. I'm like you, man. I'm rooting for the Isles, but my head's going Boston.
So that's wraps up the round 2 matchups. Let's talk about some MLB here. Let's start with the players of the month here. Marcus Semien wins AL Player of the Month. 28 games for the Blue Jays, 368 average, 12 doubles, 8 homers, 22 RBI, and OPS of over 1100.
Talk about a tear. This guy when he started the season,
he was batting 170.
Yes, he was. Not people in Toronto, people in Buffalo and Dunedin, Florida, were just getting mad at this guy. And look what he turned around and did.
Yeah, the first month he was batting. He started leadoff, right, and then he got moved down. He's struggling back into the 5-hole. Springer got hurt again. Played 4 games, and then they put him back in the leadoff hole, and he hasn't looked back. It all started with that 4-hit game in his return to Oakland, and this guy's just a bit. I don't know why they shift this guy. They shift this guy to pull, and he just hits it through the right side every time. Like, they got to start playing the Blue Jays hitters more straight up because they're taking what the pitchers are giving them. They're shooting the ball the other way. There's just been a great approach for Semien and the Blue Jays so far. They're 5.5 back of the Rays, but I mean they're starting to win some more ball games lately. But yeah, what Semien's doing, incredible. 1 year, $17 million deal this year. So hopefully the Blue Jays can re-sign him because I think he could be a big part of that offense.
Yeah. I mean, can we talk about the maybe more exciting thing for Blue Jays fans? Alex Manoah.
Yeah, Manoah came up, shoved 6 innings, shutout ball against the Yankees. What a spot to be in for a young kid. First start, 23 years old.
Mom was freaking out in the stands, man. I loved her.
You're going to get the Bronx Bombers this game. I mean, it's kind of the Bronx Band-Aids right now because they're always hurt. But
they are, but this whole
your MVP pick hasn't played in like a month, I think. Stanton.
Well, yeah. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. This division for Toronto is like you're the third, fourth. You're always battling for third, fourth because who's up top now? Who's up top? Our friendly Tampa Bay Rays. How this division they have all these teams in the top 10 power rankings. It's ridiculous, and the Rays still keep finding ways to do it. But look so Toronto's got MVP candidate, Alex Manoah, brand new mega prospect pitcher, Trevor Semien Player of the Month, and they still can't even crack the top 3 in this division. Right. It's just, I mean, as a Blue Jays fan, you're excited, but then you look at the scoreboard every day, and you're like, wow, geez. Look at Tampa. Look at Boston. Look at New York. Like, it's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, no, it can be. But, I mean, I think it's just a matter of time before the Blue Jays just go off on a 10-game winning streak.
If Springer ever going to be healthy, this team will go on that run. I know it.
I'm going to say, ever since you bought that Springer jersey, it's just been hurt. Like, you're bad luck, man.
I am. I haven't bought any jerseys recently, guys, so I won't be jinxing any of your players.
Don't be buying a Vlad Jr. jersey, please.
Oh, maybe I already got one. I don't know.
What he is doing right now is unreal. This guy has 17 homers. We talked about him last pod, but like this guy just keeps tearing the cover off the baseball. Last night he went 4 for 4, his first 4-hit game in the majors. His average is up to like 331, I think, 337. Hit another homer. He's tied with Acuna with 17, I believe, 45 RBIs, OPS over 1,200. This guy right now, he's got to be the favorite in the AL for the MVP.
I mean, dude, he's got I mean, yeah, he hits a lot of home runs, but he's leading the league and just leading his team in just regular base hits even.
Yeah.
He's second in runs scored, only to Bichette, I think, because Bichette obviously is fast as hell in the base pass, so he gets himself in scoring position more.
Yeah.
He's second in runs scored. It's ridiculous. But right behind him is Simeon in all these categories.
Yeah.
So they have these two great players. They like
the
it's
top
fun
the
to watch,
lineups.
but-
The top the lineups going.
Good.
You got Simeon, Bichette, Guerrero, and Hernandez. They're all clicking on cylinders right now.
Vlad is 22 years old, dude. He
Yeah.
just got his first 4-hit game in the majors.
Yeah.
He's gonna get another one. This is ridiculous, dude. This kid.
It's much watch ABs right now for him.
100%.
NL Player of the Month, Fernando Tatis Jr. 20 games, 9 homers, 26 RBI, 21 runs, OPS almost 1,300. This guy is the face of baseball. I mean, lots of people say it's Mike Trout, but I think Tatis is the face of baseball because he's got the swagger, he's got the personality, he's on the video game cover, he's more out there and more relatable to some fans, I believe. But this guy is just the bat flips or the nice plays in the field, the moon shots where he walks it or where he watches his homer and flips the bat. And this guy's just got so much swagger.
It's hard to find. So I love Tatis. I love it, but I look at the whole team in general. It's so hard to find something wrong with the Padres. Like if you wanted to, you're like, what can you look for?
They got good pitching. They got good bullpen. They got good.
I mean,
lineup.
Profar's whatever. Blake
Right.
Snell has only gotten the 6th inning like 2 times this year with a 5.5 ERA, but none of that matters if you have that much run support from that offense that's killing it. Like, I love Tatis. He's in I don't know if they're in the States, if he's in the video game MLB The Show commercials, but he's in the MLB The Show commercials here. He's like the lead dude in it. Like he should be on every commercial. He should be on every show. This guy is him and Vlad, that's must-watch TV in each league, like every time. I love it.
How about the West, though? Out West. All those stars out West. Everybody's out West. And before it used to be the East, right? Everybody liked the Yankees and the Red Sox. Now it's all about Mike Trout, Ohtani. You got Cody Bellinger. You got you got Mookie Betts. You got Fernando Tatis, you got Machado, you got Kershaw, you got Trevor Bauer now out there. There's so many stars out West. I mean, you had Arenado in Colorado. He's kind of out West, but like
that's West. I'd call that West.
Yeah, I'd call it West. Like there's just so much talent out West. It's ridiculous.
I'm not going to be here for any of that Los Angeles Angels talk. So
no, I'm just saying that there's a lot of talent out West.
So much talent out West, but it's like there's still this East dominated sport. That's why, and obviously we like teams in the East, but I live on the West. And so like I mentioned it every podcast that I just love watching the A's. I love watching the Mariners. And those are two teams that don't have those stars. That's how good this West side of the country is in baseball. As I'm watching A's and Mariners games. Meanwhile, there's Padres games. It's just, as a baseball fan, you got to be so excited to watch these stars. What you're scared of as a baseball fan is all these injuries, these soft tissue injuries, these weird, like something's going on. I don't know what it is. I was watching part of the interruption the other day, and they were talking about these injuries to these stars. Baseball cannot afford it in their first year back with fans, in their first year out of this pandemic, to have all these injuries. Tatis got hurt for a little bit. Thank God he came back. But guys like Springer are out. Stanton's out. Like, you need these stars. Trout's out still, right? Is Trout out?
Trout's out, yeah.
Trout's out still.
4 weeks.
Yeah. And so it's great, but, like, let's hope they stay healthy.
Yeah. Let's do a little standings update before we wrap up this pod. Let me just click on it here. So, like you said, Tampa Bay leading the AL East. 2 games behind them is the Red Sox, 4.5 and 5.5 are the Yankees and the Jays. White Sox leading that division by 2.5 games. Cleveland Kansas is 5 back. Detroit and
That's a
Minnesota.
garbage
Detroit
division.
and Minnesota are all but done.
It's a garbage division. Even I've tried to watch some Cleveland games too. I mean, I don't like anything. I mean, Toronto went in there and they won the series.
They should have swept them, but we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk about that. We're not talking about
those 7 games. You don't count, right?
This is we don't talk about Charlie Montoya's managing on this podcast.
No.
Because you will get F-bombs from me because it is ridiculous.
They did play one of those games in a 50-mile-an-hour windstorm that was wild to watch, but yeah.
Oakland leading the division by half a game. Seattle 3.5 back. LA Angels 6 back. Texas kind of.
Angels are 6 back. They got all those good players. All right.
Mets leading their division by 3.5 games. The Braves.
Mets finally gave some run support, finally hitting the ball a little bit more.
DeGrom getting some run support, driving in his own runs yet again. Atlanta's 3.5 back. Philadelphia 4 back. Miami 5 back. And Washington 6 back. So that division's fairly close, a lot like the AL East. NL Central, somehow the Cubs are in first place. Somehow.
That's a good thing. This
team came out of nowhere. They were in last place. Not last place, but they're in 4th. And they just shot up. They've won 8 of their last 10. They're getting some good pitching. They're
getting some great base running from Javi Baez.
Hold on.
Great base running.
Or stupidity by the Pittsburgh Pirates first baseman.
I know. As a first base, I played my whole life as a first baseman.
All you got to do is turn around and step on the bag. It's a force play. That run doesn't matter.
There's people you could ask Vin Scully. You could ask people that have been in baseball for
I've been
70
watching
years.
Baseball for.
Have you ever
years.
seen a rundown between first and home,
dude?
Have you ever seen a rundown between first and home?
That may have been the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a baseball game.
Yeah, it's a great. I mentioned Javi because Javi.
It's not. Don't even say it's a great play. It's a stupid play by the first baseman.
Yeah, but once Javi realizes,
Javi stops, runs back to home plate. All the first baseman has to do is turn around and walk to the first base bag.
But Javi realizing that he is, if he continues on, guaranteed out by the simple act of stepping on base. Okay, so why not just have some fun, mess around with this guy, and all of a sudden your guy at third base can maybe score a run.
But the thing is, though, if that run scores and he still steps on the bag,
it doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Like I just don't understand that guy's thought process.
But it's better than just completely giving up on the play and just running it out. You might as well try to do something with the guy on third. You saw what happened; it worked. I bet he tries it again. Why not? If he sees a rookie first baseman again, and that same thing happens, he's like, "Oh, I could take advantage of this rookie. I could take advantage of this no-name first baseman." It's not like Albert Pujols is my first base over there, bro. I don't even know the guy's name. Poor guy. I don't want those names. I don't want to trash him on here because he made it through the leagues and he's probably really good. So I'm not here to talk negative, but like it wasn't like John or whoever was playing first base. So I don't know. I love Javi. Javi is another guy that is appointment viewing. He doesn't hit as many home runs, but that kid plays hard.
He's got swagger. Yeah. NL West here before we wrap up this episode. The San Francisco Giants still clicking away. First place, the NL West. Half a game back is the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers are 2 back. And the Dodgers signed Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer's making more money than some teams' payroll.
That's what you can do when you're
they're not in first place. It is a joke that this team's not in first place.
So it's a joke, but like in baseball, first place is whatever. Just make the postseason. You can throw your aces on the road and still win games. So I think Dodgers are fine, 100%. I think they make the postseason, and I think they're a better team than the Giants. I really do. But good on San Francisco. Good on the Giants, man.
Right now, if the playoffs ended, they would barely make the playoffs right now.
That's all you need to do. Make that 1 game or 3 game playoff and throw Clayton Kershaw and throw Trevor Bauer against whoever they can put out there, whoever you play, and see who's better. You know?
Yeah.
I love LA. Trevor Bauer is great for content. He's great for this. What secretly worries me, we talked about it last week, is all this substance and this cheating talk. They've collected a lot of Trevor Bauer baseballs.
And Donaldson said he's going to expose all those pitchers. So
they've collected a lot of Trevor Bauer baseballs, and they haven't done any punishment yet. The only thing that could really actually hurt a team like LA is a suspension to a pitcher. It really,
Yeah.
I mean, if that happens, I don't think it's ever been.
Honestly, Seth, I don't think the MLB is going to do anything about it this year. I think they're just it's going to be water under their bridge, and this shit is going to be massive. It's going to get out of control next year because it didn't get handled.
So there's isn't there a new agreement coming up between the
new
players unions
CBA,
and
new
CBA's coming up?
CBA. That is going to be in the CBA. Something's going to be done with that.
And also in the CBA, they're going to change the playoff format. I just know it.
There's going to be expanded playoffs, and there's going to be universal DH.
Universal DH, expanded playoffs, and they're going to crack down on substances, but they're going to allow some substance. They're still going to allow something.
They're going to allow rosin and stuff, but like, there's none of this like rosin, sunscreen, pine tar, rosin. Like, I watched a video last night because I did some research on it, and this pitcher did a YouTube video, and he had every single substance. Okay, so he threw a fastball, normal, no substance. It was like 1900 spin rate. Okay, he did a fastball with rosin and sunscreen. It was like 2150, and then he did like pine tar, and it was like 2300 spin rate. It was ridiculous. It was actually really cool to watch that video and go in depth of how each foreign substance kind of like manipulates the ball for the spin. But I don't know, man. MLB's got to do something about that. I don't think it'll happen this year. Probably next year. But
do you think these 7-inning doubleheaders stick around in the new CBA?
I hope not. That's not baseball.
I don't like it either.
Like
now,
the Jays lost in 7 innings, and I'm like, damn, dude, like our top order's coming up, like in the 8th. It's like shit, you know. I don't know.
I think sending. You know what? Really, we're talking about the Devil Rays earlier. I think the Devil Rays and how they manage their pitching staff gives them such an advantage in 7-inning games.
Oh yeah, yep.
That secretly, teams are going to have to if the 7-inning doubleheaders stay around. You can guarantee the teams are going to be looking at the pitching coaches. They're going to be looking at the staff and how Tampa Bay builds and runs it. And they might not do it, you know, they're not going to do it for a 9-inning game. They're not going to use the starter or the opener or whatever they call it. But in these 7-inning doubleheaders, they are definitely going to start using an opener or something like that because it makes sense to me.
Right.
So if they stick around, that'll happen. I don't like them either. I love doubleheaders. I think there should be more 9 and 9 doubleheaders in the major leagues. I really do, because the season, the way it's built and structured, I think that's attributing to these injuries, these soft tissue injuries we're seeing a lot. And if you play more in one day, it can take more rest days. I think that is a big thing that in CBA is going to be something that they can talk about. More regular doubleheaders, less everyday games.
So you want more off days?
Oh, I want stars in the game, and with more rest days, they can stay in the game.
Anything else? You got anything else to add? Did we miss anything? No,
I don't think so. This has been a slow baseball week, but like hockey is killing it right now, guys. So you should be watching.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm on my way to Seattle today.
Yeah. Are you going to that Mariners game?
I ran it by the wife twice. I haven't gotten a hard no, so it's still a maybe.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying there's a chance to catch a Mariners-A's game tonight or tomorrow. Probably tonight. Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow, and I'm flying to my brother's wedding in the Midwest. So I will be podcasting from my cabin next
North
week.
Dakota,
No,
right?
I don't know. I'll be up at the lake, man.
Oh, okay.
I don't own any houses or anything in Minot anymore, so I'll be up at Lake Menegoshi in Botno, chilling. It's supposed to be 90 degrees. It's going to be great. So
Hopefully you have some good internet down there.
yeah. Better internet than you got in Canada.
Hey, probably.
So,
My internet here is not very good. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify. We're on Google Podcast, Amazon Music. I think we're on Pandora. Kind of on everything right now. Obviously, we're on YouTube. If you're watching us, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next week for episode 9.
We'll see ya.